Everybody, can I please introduce to you that motorcycle? Hi guys, my name is Jeanette Bonner and you are watching The Scoop to Go, where we have conversations with culture makers and creators over ice cream. Only this time we are in the glorious Vancouver, British Columbia. Today I'm going to be getting ice cream at Ernest Ice Cream, and later we'll be joined by Maurice Chapdelaine, an incredible actor and producer in television sci-fi series. Let's go get some ice cream. Hello.
Hello.
You're Ben, yeah?
I am.
Great.
Welcome
I'm
to
Jeanette.
Ernest Ice Cream. Hi, Jeanette.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having us.
Happy to have you.
It smells incredible in here.
Oh, good.
Are you making caramel?
We are, in fact, making caramel.
How lucky for me.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your incredibly beautiful shop here.
We started the business in 2012.
Okay.
And we just started at a commissary kitchen not far from here, making ice cream and selling it at farmers markets. And from there, we opened now 4 locations. From the beginning, we wanted this business to be a values-based business. That was kind of the aha moment that I had was, oh, I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. But then I realized, wait, it can actually, a business can be a vehicle for change in the world and can actually have a big impact. So,
And you want to do it through ice cream?
Yeah. And I love ice cream, so
I think that's genius.
Wouldn't I mean?
Why wouldn't we all do that?
Yeah. Package in these glass jars. So we've got a reusable glass jar that you can bring back when it's empty. We'll wash it out, sanitize it, and refill it.
And you're the first company to offer this,
As far as
right?
we know, yeah.
That's really clever.
Yeah.
Will you allow the Scoop to go back into your kitchen?
I would love for you to see the kitchen.
That's my dream, just to live in an ice cream kitchen.
It's my dream too.
Oh, how perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
Oh my God, this place is huge.
Yeah. So
I don't want to get too close.
the way that we make caramel, it's the dry process. So we start with just sugar. It's a little more volatile that way. You have to really be stirring and
Paying attention the
watching
whole time.
the
Yeah.
process. Because if it goes over the edge, it's burnt.
Then you have burnt caramel.
And we want it to be, the darker it goes, the more intense those flavors are.
Yeah.
And so we want to bring it right to that edge of being burnt, but not going over. So. And here's the salt that we use. It's a salt from Vancouver Island sea salt.
Of course it is.
Of
That's
course.
really cool.
Yeah, it's a company not far from here that they boil down salt water and seawater.
From the ocean.
Yeah, ocean water.
That's neat. I know you locally source your ingredients, but are there any other ingredients that you make on site other than
we
the
make
caramel?
Almost everything on site. And then behind us here is our baking station.
Sure.
So we've got the double ovens, a big mixer, and lots of table space for roasting nuts. We use the ovens to cook down fruit and concentrate the flavors of the fruit. We bake our own brownies and pie crust and all sorts of various things. This is a pneumatic filler, so it's powered by an air compressor, and that's that noise that you hear.
Yeah.
And there's just a foot pedal that makes that piston fire back and forth. It draws in ice cream from the hopper and fills just the right amount, so you can adjust exactly how much you need to fill up each jar. Yeah,
Oh my God, do you ever just skip the freezing process and eat it like that? Because I would.
It's the best at that point, actually.
She's like, yes, but don't tell anybody.
The texture is so amazing when it just
It's
comes out.
it's like eating raw cookie dough. Like, you just eat like raw ice cream.
Yeah. A baker lives and dies by their oven.
Sure.
For us, it's our freezer.
That makes sense.
So
This looks like a very expensive freezer.
It's our baby, and it.
Do human beings go into the freezer?
Yeah. Do you want to see inside?
Can we?
Yeah. Let's look.
Okay.
After you.
Thank you. Oh God. Okay. It's definitely a freezer. Oh my God, look at all this ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's freezing. Well, I think being a values-driven company like yourself, or an eco-driven company, like being able to give back and support other small businesses and small farmers and create a sort of domino effect within the ecosystem. Like you're all balancing each other and helping support each other.
Yeah.
Like what a beautiful model for
Yeah.
other people to follow.
Yeah, thank you.
I have to say that smell is making me incredibly hungry and the sights of the ice cream. So could we potentially go taste some ice cream now?
Absolutely.
Yes!
Let's try it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Still waiting on that ice cream.
Getting close.
This is torture.
Oh, it's ready to taste.
Oh,
It's ready
okay.
to taste. Here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh God, I
Yeah.
would never even put it in the freezer.
I know. It's kind of hard
That's
to.
delightful.
Yeah.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's your favorite flavor right here?
Oh, that's like, what's my favorite child?
I know, right?
Um,
Morris, hi!
Oh my gosh.
Welcome!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to meet you in person.
Yes! I've heard so much about you. Are you excited to have ice cream for lunch?
100%. And I'm hungry.
Have you ever been to the shop before?
I've been to Ernest, but never to this.
Oh,
main-
fantastic. Let me introduce you to Ben. Ben's one of the co-founders.
hello.
goodness,
Nice
hey.
to meet you.
Nice
And
to meet
Morris is
you.
an actor
Welcome.
and a producer.
Welcome to Ernest Ice
And
Cream.
director.
Thank you, thank you. I actually had a paper bag I left at home with 12 empty pints of
Oh.
Ernest. I should have
Oh my
brought it
God,
today.
You're like the key customer.
Oh, yes. I always return them because it's great for that little, buck back. Yeah.
And we just talked about this earlier. They're apparently you're like premiering this. That's not the right word. You're pioneering this, right? You're the first
As far as
company
we know, yeah.
in the world that does this kind of recycle program for pints,
Yeah.
which is really neat.
Yeah.
Let's sample some flavors,
Mm.
shall we? Hi everybody, I'm very excited to introduce you today. My guest, Morris Chapdelaine, who is a television producer here in Vancouver, British Columbia. So Morris, thank you for being on The Scoop with me.
My absolute pleasure.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Thank you for being an ice cream nerd as much as I am.
Yes.
So, first things first, how did you get started in acting and why did you start with TV?
In Western Canada, particularly in Vancouver, we're really known for our fantasy, sci-fi, horror shows.
I've
For the
actually
long-
heard that Vancouver is the sci-fi capital of the entertainment industry of the world. Is that true?
I think that's pretty true. It's the climate, it's the environment here. It's a dark, rainy, misty nights.
Okay.
Our ability to double for many different cities geographically,
Sure,
as
yeah.
well. It really plays really well into all of that genre. And I had a great time. I was working both as an actor, as a puppeteer, which was pretty crazy. But you get to a point where being a day player on shows it's tough to make a living in this big city. And I loved the other side of the film. I was doing some documentary work and some commercial work and whatnot. And I found a great team of mentors and people to work with and really lucked into becoming a full-time producer. So
Yeah, you make it sound really easy.
it wasn't easy. It's a long process.
I know it is. Is there something about TV that really drew you in? Most of your credits are in television
True.
and not in theater or film. So I think that's new for me. Like I work in New York City. We mostly go back and forth between film and theater. So it's interesting for me to meet someone who's worked primarily in television.
I think it's because that's primarily what we do here. We have a small theater scene. It's fine.
okay.
We do have a fairly significant feature film scene. We do some big projects here. But the television is what I was able to cut my teeth on. Episodic work was something that was ongoing. So getting a role or playing a character that could recur over a period of time was economically smarter.
Yeah, and I have to bring this up because speaking of recurring roles, so you were in Stargate, which is a huge fandom to it, right?
Yeah.
There is, I don't know if you've Googled yourself recently, but there's a Wikia fandom page for you.
There's not.
Yes, you don't know this?
No.
There is, for your character that you played in Stargate.
Hilarious. Which one? Because I did a few, right?
No, but it mentions all of the characters that you play, right? So I didn't know, like, what came first. Like, are you considered, like, a superstar in the sci-fi Comic-Con genre? Or do you yourself consider yourself, like, a sci-fi nerd? Like, that universe is not my jam or my forte, as you could probably guess by my shoe choice. Not to judge. I mean, I could be a total sci-fi nerd if I wanted to be, but I don't know very much about it. I'm just curious, like, where do you stand in that? Like, are you a lover of the sci-fi, or did they just love you?
I didn't start as a lover of the sci-fi. I ended up really loving it because that sort of storytelling was so fantastical.
So how did you go from being an actor in these sci-fi series, and which there were several, right? Into being a puppeteer on these sci-fi series?
The transition from actor to puppeteer was fairly easy. I was doing the voice on set for a particular alien, which was this crazy little inanimate guy. And the producers suggested to me at that point that I get to work with and know the puppeteers who were animating the face, so I could figure out how to do that voice to work with the puppet.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. I was so fascinated by the animatronics and the hand and rod work. And I spent some time with them, and I just continued doing that.
Because today it'd be the equivalent of like going in front of the green screen and wearing the motion capture.
Motion capture. And the puppeteering aspect of television was more like theater than acting.
It's collaborative.
Yeah, it's collaborative.
And it's physical.
You have to rehearse. It was very physical.
Whereas like on TV, you're like, don't use the eyebrows. I'm in close up.
And this was all about arch that left eyebrow and tweak the the right nostril before you say this.
How annoying. So what was the transition from puppeteer to producer?
Well, I started doing some documentary work.
The Politics of Pride?
Yeah.
This is your documentary on the LGBTQ.
But we did it to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Pride Parade in Vancouver.
That's so
but
cool.
We were able to travel the world with the project. We saw some really intense things in Russia and in Brazil, in Sri Lanka, where it was very, very difficult for people just to be open about their sexuality.
Of course.
So it was a great experience. I spent a year after that traveling the festival circuit, and I thought, well, producing is for me. It's everything, because it gave me an opportunity to tell stories I wanted to tell rather than the other way around.
Yeah. So you're also a documentary film director and producer. How did this passion manifest itself?
I mean, I've always been a huge fan of documentaries. A colleague of mine who worked in commercials at one point came to me several years ago and said, I've got this project idea. I need somebody with some camera experience who, can bring something else to the table to take it on with me. But it's going to be a labor of love because there's not a lot of money involved.
Never.
And after it was pitched to me, I thought, I want to do this. Let's jump in. And we both did, like completely head first. And it was Beyond Gay, the Politics of Pride, which was the first documentary we did. And we had such a great time. And we did get some funding for it. We ended up traveling the world with it on the festival circuit afterwards. It broadcast in the US on Showtime, in Canada on Super Channel.
This was a complete accident and it ended up being a huge success.
Yeah, it became a great, great success. So
you have some magic to you. I think it is the Canadian water.
The Canadian water. You know what I always tell my partner, you get more bees with honey. So I kind of take that approach to almost everything. And I find people want to help you out if you just ask.
So I'm really curious to know, so what does acting and being a puppeteer and being a producer in sci-fi TV, and also now being a director and producer in documentary LGBTQ content, what connects them?
More than anything, I think it's just my need to tell stories. I remember when I was a little boy, I used to get in trouble in school all the time because I was always telling stories and visiting with my classmates. And I think I remember as grade 1, a teacher, Mrs. Robbins, said, "Maura, stop visiting with all your classmates." But that's all I wanted to do was visit and tell stories. And that idea of, having a bit of an audience was something that I always loved, and that's why I acted, that's why I did puppeteering. And then being able to find that I could get a bigger audience by using film as a medium and now television just was part and parcel. So that's all.
Awesome.
Just a storyteller.
What's been the biggest surprise of this gorgeous journey that's been your career?
Biggest surprise is just getting to where I am now. I have to pinch myself sometimes. I am really lucky, and it's because of the contacts that I've made, over the years, and I've had a lot of people that have done me favors, and I've been in the trenches. I've done it all, you know, and I struggled like most people do. But yeah, being in this place now, having, you know, a show that I'm one of the sole producers on, that's, you know, we just went to camera on it yesterday. It's a thrill. It's a complete thrill.
That's so cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with me. Thank you for coming and getting this incredible ice cream. I see we're in the last dregs, so we're just going to be classy and let's just cheers to you. Mm.
Oh God, that's
the
good.
last drop was just as good as the first one.
So true. Thank you.
So I have to ask you this question because I ask all of my guests. What is your ice cream story?
My ice cream story.
Don't think too hard about that. It's like the first thing you think of when you think about ice cream.
I think the first thing is, I remember as a child, one of the first ice creams I ordered, I was with, I think, my grandmother, and I ordered it because it was so colorful. It was this bubblegum ice cream. It was blue and had all these chunks of bubblegum in it. And it was an incredible experience, kind of weirdly gross with the frozen gum afterwards, but I think that's my first ice cream memory.
That was, how did he put it? That was your gateway drug.
My gateway drug.
The blue bubblegum ice cream. Now what's your dream job? Like if you could create any sci-fi television show or sci-fi film and you could produce it, like a story that hasn't been told yet, what would that story be?
Oh gosh. Gay superhero battling injustices around the world with magical powers.
Yes!
Okay, that.
That story needs to be told. What are you talking about? I would watch the heck out of that series. I would create your Wikia fandom page.
Are you available for it?
I might be. Who do you need? An ice cream vigilante? Yes! We're doing it! Done. I just booked a job. And that's the scoop.